I actually just put out a sticker um it says Mercury's and micro braids, and it's Sailor Mercury with micro braids.
Oh my God, the way I need to be in your world, girl. I need to see all this Black Girl Sailor Moon content.
Yes.
Cause
Yes. That's the other thing with my podcast. It's mainly black and brown women, and that makes me so happy.
yeah,
Because it's like everyone on there is the same way. They're like, I didn't know. I had Sweetie on the show actually, and she was like, I didn't know there were other black women into Sailor Moon, and I'm like, we're
true.
here, we're out
We're
here.
here. Hey, hey, BA fam, and hey, hey, listeners of the Sailor Moon fan club. This is the crossover episode probably no one expected. This is the crossover that I could not have manifested for myself, but this is going to be a little bit different, y'all. Today, I am joined in the studio with the Victoria L. Johnson. She is by day working in the nonprofit sector, being a content baddie, and by night she is saving the world with the Sailor Moon fan club in her podcast called The Moonies Club.
It's called the podcast is Sailor Moon Fan Club, but the whole brand is Mooney's Club.
I just flipped them. We flipped the
It's
script. Now
fine.
we're going to reverse
Yeah.
it. And this couldn't have been more serendipitous because I have been waiting to let my Sailor Moon Freak fan club flag fly free for a while and heal my inner child. But this is a great example, BA fam, of like a time when you go to an event and you just open yourself up to just meeting someone different and having a conversation and leaving your social anxiety at the door, which y'all know I suffer from intense social anxiety. That's gotten better. I had the great fortune to get invited to speak at a conference in Miami this past July called ColorCon, and it was a really fun event. There was this very awkward moment where I got tapped on the shoulder to be in a quote unquote fashion show and wanted to slowly fade into the background, but forced myself to do it. And then I feel like it was like after that fashion show, kind of like cocktail hour was over, this divine angel walks up to me and said, "Hi, I'm Victoria." And I forget what else you said. I guess you had come to my panel, which was about podcasting.
I did. I
And
did.
and from your side of the conversation, pick it up there.
Yeah, I can fill in the rest. So I, since I saw you on the panel, I was like, I want to be on this podcast. This sounds phenomenal. And I was like, I need to talk to her. So I came up to you and I said, Hi, I'm Victoria. I love your podcast. Would love to come on it. I want to pitch myself to be on your show and would love to like get your contact information. And you were like, Well, pitch yourself right now. And I was like, you know what?
I
I can
forgot
do
that. That
this.
sounds like me. Do it.
And I was just like, let's go. And I was like, do you know Sailor Moon? And you were like, I do know Sailor Moon. And I was like, this is going to be great.
I know
This is already going to
her.
work.
So
Yes.
funny. Yeah, and you did. And you brought, that's right, you brought your friend over. She was like,
I
I don't,
did.
was she like your go girl, like, wing
She
woman in
was.
that
She
moment?
was. Yeah. And it's funny because we had just met that weekend as well, or that week during at the conference. We had a mutual person that we knew in common who told us we should connect at the conference, and we just like immediately clicked. And then I was her wing woman to. She wanted to go speak to Star Jones, who was the host of that evening. So I was her wing woman then, and then she was my wing woman to speak to you.
Yeah, me and Star Jones. Yeah, same. That's
It
so
felt the
funny.
same.
I'm so, so glad you did. Because there's no way you could have known I'm such a big Sailor Moon fan or that but
No,
just
but
serendipitous. And the minute you started to talk about your podcast, I was like, well, first of all, selfishly, I want to talk to you about this. Like, I felt like it has been a hidden love of mine for so long. Because, growing up, for sure, I was not people were not checking for the girl who was into Sailor Moon. Anime's having a moment now, not so much back then.
not so much back then.
But I'm just really happy to have you on.
I think what really made me excited too was like you were saying how I was surprised to see you were a Sailor Moon fan, and I couldn't have known. But I think one thing that's I've seen over time is there's so many of us
Yeah.
everywhere that I'm like, who isn't a Sailor Moon fan? Like I feel like I've done job interviews before in the past where the interviewer was a Sailor Moon fan. I've done spoken to so many different people and like who've ended up coming on the podcast, and I was just like, I would have never guessed this person is a Sailor Moon fan, but they
Yeah.
are.
Were you also an 80s baby? Like a late 80s baby or a 90s baby?
Early 90s, 91.
Okay, so I'm only a few years older, but I also am like, what? We weren't finding each other back then. It wasn't no like TikTok and like Facebook groups and
Mm-mm.
communities. Like I was just out there in the streets with my little lunch bag, 7 years old,
Yeah.
just and like begging my mom, please. I have these visceral memories of like trying to, because it came on in my area. I grew up in Atlanta, in Georgia, and it came on at 4 p.m. But for some
Hmm.
reason, it was not a half hour show. It ended at 4:24. And I knew if I did not get home to catch that, I would not, sometimes I could catch like the last 10 minutes if my mom took the shortcut after she left work. During my summer break, I would go to her office and just, putter around, read books or whatever. And I'd be so stressed. I'm like, we have to get home. I'm gonna miss Sailor Moon. And there was no syndication or like there was no streaming. There was no
No, you
YouTube to watch
cannot catch it
clips.
again. Nope.
You cannot
That
catch
was
it
it. If you
again.
didn't catch it, it's like better luck tomorrow.
Yeah, but that was enough. I don't know what is it about this IP that just has us, just falling in love. I don't know, but talk to me about you first and foremost. What do you do? And then how for the podcast itself, tell folks what to expect from it and why they should tune in.
Yeah, so podcast is Sailor Moon Fan Club. So I interview Sailor Moon fans about themselves. The idea, again, is like that. There are so many incredible people doing amazing things, and we all happen to be Sailor Moon fans. So I've had rappers on the show, I've had book authors, I have had other podcasters, I've had a sex worker, like have everyone from every walk of life who's just doing something cool or dope or incredible, and yeah, and they all happen to be Sailor Moon fans. So we talk a little bit about Sailor Moon and their introduction to Sailor Moon. Then we talk a little bit about them and what they're doing. I also spoke to a woman getting her PhD, and she wanted to talk about bell hooks and how she connects it to Sailor Moon. And I was like, please come on my show.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, I was like, yes, absolutely. Let's have that conversation. And yeah, then that's about it. And I would just talk about Sailor Moon and themselves, and it's really fun.
When did you start the show? How long's it been on the air?
I launched this podcast in March 2020.
Okay, so 5 years. That is a yes.
Five
Can we just
years.
5 years and you still going? So we're
Right
coming out
at the
weekly,
onset.
bi-weekly?
Um, it started weekly. I've actually pulled back because and do monthly now because I started doing events
Oh,
based
oh,
through the
oh.
podcast. Yeah, yeah,
Oh, we talked a
and
little bit about this. Wait, what? Okay, so what are
yeah,
these events that you do?
yeah. So I do the Sailor Moon Day Party every year. So Sailor Moon's birthday is June 30th. So on the last Saturday of the month or the last Sunday of the month, I do a day party where you can get your nails done for free. There's tarot card readings. Because thinking like once you transform, her nails change, and so that kind of connects. And then Sailor Mars kind of does like she doesn't do tarot card readings, but she does like readings, so it kind of connected. There's obviously like a DJ. We have signature drinks. There's vendors selling stuff. And I'm like, what else is there? We keep adding stuff. Oh, we just added a tattoo station. And yes, and we did that. Been doing that for 3 years. Absolutely come through. It's a vibe. It's such a good time.
Do people
And then
cosplay? Like, is it that kind
people
of?
cosplay. Yeah. Some people cosplay. Some
Okay.
people just come, in regular clothes. I usually have regular clothes on. I usually don't cosplay because I'm running around doing event stuff.
Mm.
But it's so fun. And then last year I started the Magical Girls Festival. And for people who don't know, so Sailor Moon is part of the genre Magical Girls. So it's like Powerpuff Girls, Winx Club, if you're familiar with that. It's like anything where you're thinking about women with magical powers. And so this is like a mini convention, like a very, very small scaled version of like a New York Comic Con kind of thing, but like more 1,000 people versus like tens of thousands of people. And we have vendors. We just added programming this year. It's gonna be in September. And we actually are bringing in Terry Hawks, who is the original voice actress or one of the original voice actresses of Sailor Moon.
Yes! Wait,
Yeah.
my I just went like very high pitched. When you said that, I did not even know my mind knew that name. But when you said it, I was like, wait a
Right?
second. Didn't she voice Sailor Moon? How did I know that? Wow.
It's in our brains. It's like
Oh my
once a Moonie,
gosh.
forever a Moonie.
This is such so it's become so much bigger than a podcast for you. That's incredible. It's a business now.
It's a whole business. Yeah, and it really just started as a podcast. And I mentioned March 2020 because that was the beginning of the pandemic.
Yeah.
And so it was just like thrown into all of that, but really helped me to kind of focus on the podcast and then, built it out into events And then now I'm producing other shows. I'm started producing a comedy show at Anime and Nerd Convention. So I have one at Anime NYC later this month, and then at New York Comic Con next month. And yeah, just been growing and doing businesses and collaborating. And I'm also working on a book. And so it's just a million things. So it's become a whole, it's taken on its whole life. And I was like, okay, I can't do weekly episodes anymore, but I can do monthly. And that's okay. I have to be okay
It's
with that.
okay. And because you're making space for these other parts,
Right.
that's such a good point to make too, because with Brown Ambition, I'm doing so much with the show and I want to do more. I would love to do more live events. I have a 10-year anniversary coming up in mid-September. That's only a month
Yes.
away. I'm so excited. And months ago, I was like, I'm going to start planning this event because I need to be months in advance. I don't have a single thing planned, and I'm so mad,
If you
Victoria.
need
I,
help, I've planned
I
events in
need
less than a
help.
month. Let's do it.
Can we do it? Please help
But
me. It's so
yes.
hard because I'm doing so much more with the show that I'm like,
Hmm.
when do I have time to plan anything? I would love that. Okay, we're gonna talk off
Yes, definitely
camera.
email me. We can figure it out.
You're
That'd
not
be
the
so exciting.
And starting an events-based business, I mean, that's not easy. Did you have a background in that through your 9 to 5 before you started to do this, or has it been like a new skill set to learn?
A, a little bit of both. So I work in comms, so I'm a digital communication instructor. So I'm really adept in like social and marketing. But I think the event planning side was a little bit harder. And I think I tell people event planning is a lot of like marketing and project management. So I'm really good at those things. But I think there was just a learning curve of figuring out like what's a minimum spend for a bar where you have to like reach this certain amount for the bar to make before, you have to pay that amount back. And, what's a good minimum spend? Maybe instead of a minimum spend, you split, ticket sales and just negotiating those kind of things. So that was my learning curve in events. But I think the marketing and project management, I'm like, okay, I can do this. Like I can email people and let them know like what's happening and when, and try to market things and make sure people are coming.
And that's such a good point too. I think sometimes people have the skill, like maybe you have the idea for the event, or you have the talent or the vendors for the
Hmm.
event, but then you don't know or understand the marketing piece of it or how to sell tickets. What advice do you have for people in that situation?
Ooh, I mean, I do think if you have uh the money for it, Instagram ads tends to be very helpful.
Okay.
Outside of that, I think making sure you have a really good flyer. If you can pay for a graphic designer, use Canva. I think visuals like that tends to draw people to all of my events. It's like a really good and like engaging, inviting visual. Other than that, also collaborating. I've been able to grow like a good community of other anime creators who will post my event on their page, and then of course, I do the same thing for them. So I think those three things really help. And if you can try and get media, I've been grateful to be covered in like Time Out, and develop a relationship there. And so shooting your shot, I'm like with you and everywhere else in my life, I am a big proponent of cold emails, and I would say most of the time it works out. I mean, not always, but it never hurts to ask.
Cold chats work so much better, but they're harder. Harder to make
Hmm.
yourself do, harder to happen. And like, so what are the chances you're going to be somewhere and have someone cross your path? But I love what you said. I mean, I think community has got to be one that I think is maybe under. It's said a lot. I think we all talk. There's a lot of lip service being paid to the importance of community these days,
Hmm.
including on my part. But just to like actually explain what that can mean, it's like finding people who have similar interests, who are in a similar space as you. They understand the grind and I feel like in that case so much more likely to help amplify because they're like, oh, I'm in these trenches too, girl. I'm going to share
Yeah.
this. I know you're going to pay it forward one day and share my stuff. And has it been a community like local to Brooklyn? Is that important to like be physically local to your other supporters?
I think a little bit. Definitely local to New York City has been helpful because we have a lot of overlap in our audiences, and where they have similar audiences where like they have a lot of New Yorkers following them. But I have a friend who has a huge anime platform, and I have two friends actually with huge like platforms who are not in New York City, and but they have a large anime uh, community who follows them, and so that helps as well. So I think as long as you either have location or an audience that matches what you're doing, I think that makes sense. And then I've started to go into digital events with my I just launched a Discord, and we did a watch party last weekend. And
So fascinating. So it sounds like for the events, your first events, were you personally bootstrapping them, like you were putting the money up yourself?
yep, yeah,
Okay, how did that feel?
yeah, scary. So my first event, the bar minimum was $4,500, which means if whatever that bar does not make, I have to pay the difference. At the
Mm.
time, I was in the process of looking for a new apartment, so I had the money, but I also am like, if I you have to use this, I'm gonna have to wait longer to like look for an apartment in New York City.
So
Um,
you were putting up your security deposit basically. I mean, double the
Basically,
rent, triple the rent sometimes
right.
in New York. Damn. Okay.
Yeah. And so I'm just like, I need this to work because I don't have.
I need this
But
to
then
work
it goes
out.
back to community. I have a really great friend who he was just like, just do it. It's gonna be great. And he was like, if you don't make it, I'll put 2,000 towards it. And like,
Oh,
thankfully, he
bless.
right. Um, but I think he just knew it was gonna be successful. I guess he can't know, but it ended up working out. I made close to the bar minimum. I made 4,300, so I only owed $200, which great for a
Okay.
first event. And
Break
ever since then, I've
even-ish.
always been able, yeah, even-ish, yeah. And ever since then, I've always been able to make my bar minimum. And then I get ticket sales as well, so it's kind of like that just covers
That's
that.
separate from ticket. That's right. Because so
Mm-hmm.
you're selling tickets. And so once you factor in ticket sales, are you then in the red or black? Sorry, in the black?
In the black, yes.
Nice. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So does it become like an actual, because I've heard a lot of people who've done events like live events, conferences, conventions, one day things, micro events, etc. Like for me, the reviews are very mixed, but the the interwoven thread, everyone agrees like you can easily lose money and it can be really hard to like maintain. Um, what is your take on that? I mean, are you seeing it like, okay, I've got like a system down pat, like I can kind of see this being a consistent income stream for me now moving
Yeah,
forward?
I think the day party and the Magical Girls Fest for sure, those feel like at this point, I've had three successful day parties, and this will be our second Magical Girls Fest, but I already feel like, I mean, we got over 100 vendor applications. We got 40 last year, and so that's already huge. And I was like, I actually don't have the space for all of these vendors, so I couldn't approve everybody, sadly, that I wanted to. But now I know I'm like, okay, I can actually grow this next year because the vendor fee is 200 each table. And so I'm like, if there are this many people interested in vending at this event, that means I can actually like go to a bigger space if I want to. And
Yeah.
so I'm like, that's scaling already faster than I thought. Two events I feel like have been doing well. I think it's more also new events that I'm thinking about doing. I'm still a little bit scared about. I tried a new concept earlier this year that didn't work out as well as I wanted to, so that was a loss. And so now one of my learnings though was that okay, for new ideas, start smaller. Like don't go immediately to the like thing. I'm like maybe we can try like there's a bunch of spaces in New York City that'll let you host an event for free. And so I'm like, okay, for new ideas, let's start there and then see if it can grow.
You know, it's really great that you said that because I feel like when you're in business and you have a setback, especially if it comes after initial success, now I can speak from experience here, it really can knock the confidence. And it feels like you're taking all the wind out of your sails, you're losing momentum. In that moment, how do you stop yourself from getting stuck in that wallowing place of, oh, I failed, like I'm never going to be good at anything again, I should stop.
Well, I don't stop myself at first because I definitely spent some time wallowing in those feelings for the first maybe week where I'm like, I'm not doing this anymore. I'm like, this isn't working out. I hate it. But I think, I hate to keep going back to community, but I have a really good group of friends who are like, what do you mean? Like you had like all this other great things happen. And I also try to tell myself the same thing where I'm like, okay, let's lean a little bit on reality. Like this was one setback, but it's not everything. So I think trying to do that and just having people who remind you that like you're doing okay or that you're doing a lot.
To talk about team, because this is to be doing events like this, you must need a team at some point, right? Whether it's people like the day of in advance. where do you even begin getting help?
Yeah, and it great question. So I'm actually mostly a team of one, mainly because while like I have seen success, I don't think the funds have matched the ability for me to hire someone, and I don't feel comfortable having people work for free unless we are like really, really close friends. So I'm thankful, like
Yeah.
on day of, I do have a select group of friends where I'm like, hey, can you show up like 2 hours early and help me like hang up posters? And so I've had that, but really it's just about trying to plan as early as possible as I can. Like even right now, I'm already planning ahead for the Sailor Moon Day party next year. I actually just put out a sticker uh, where it says Mercury's and micro braids, and it's Sailor Mercury with micro braids.
Oh my God, the way I need to be in your world, girl. I need to see all this Black Girl Sailor Moon content.
Yes.
Cause
Yes, that's the other thing with my podcast. It's mainly black and brown women, and that makes me so happy.
man,
Because it's like everyone on there is the same way. They're like, I didn't know. I had Saweetie on the show actually, and she was like, I didn't know there were other black women into Sailor Moon, and I'm like, we're
really?
here, we're out
We're
here.
here. Well, you know, Lizzo, when she did her birthday, was it last
Yes.
year? I sent my brother that. By the way, this little, if you're watching on YouTube, I have my little, this is my only, I have two pieces of Sailor Moon like merch,
Ooh,
paraphernalia.
what's your
And
other
that's
one?
one. My brother went to Japan and brought that back for me. And then I have this little like makeup kit that I got. Yes, ColourPop.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah, I got this in this clearance aisle at Ulta, I think. And I was like,
Mm-hmm.
these are not even all my colors, but because obviously she's a white girl with blue eyes. But yeah, I got it. It really, just to heal myself because something about, I mean, obviously, as a kid, I was always hiding my love and obsession with Sailor Moon and like not really feeling like I could fully embrace it. Honestly, I wish I can go back and just tell my girl, just like, girl, just enjoy it. Bring
Mm-hmm.
that Sailor Moon wand to school and bring that Sailor Moon lunchbox and girl, just be
Yes.
yourself. But I was so self-conscious about anything that made me different, and everything made me different where I grew up. And so and also money, like we never really had money for a lot of stuff. So I would salivate over the Toys R Us, like, you know, the insert that would come
Yes.
in the paper. Or if I ever got a chance to go in a Toys R Us, I'd go to the aisle and look at all the toys and just like want them, but never felt like I could. And it's just so funny. Now I'm, you know, at my big age now, money, mama's got the money. And it's nice to kind of treat myself once in a while to just something
Yes.
just for me to acknowledge just the little
Yeah.
fangirl inside me.
No, I buy way too much merch now. It's become a
I bet you
problem.
do.
But now, and that's the problem, been the issue with the podcast now, because I'm like, it's for the business.
Oh, right. That's true.
I'm
She
gonna
can
use it for
justify a
content.
lot.
I can write it off on taxes. I need it.
That's true. Well, I'm glad to hear that part of the business you have like, you know, the setting up the LLC and getting the accountant
Hmm.
and all that piece of it. Did that come naturally for you, or was that also a bit of a challenge?
Definitely a little bit of a learning curve just because it was like the legalese and taxes and trying to figure that out, make sure I'm doing things right. I have another friend who has done it before. So I was like, how did you set up your LLC? She was like, here's the site I use, here's how I did it. And I'm like, great, thank you.
Yeah.
And it's Inkfile for anyone who is listening. It was made the process super easy, inkfile.com. But yeah, I think once I decided I wanted to start doing events, I was like, okay, I actually need to make this an LLC. It's not just a podcast anymore. Like if I'm collecting money in these like large scales, has to be legit.
She's gotta get her big girl business pants on.
Yeah. Also, I want to flag too, because people get particular about this, but like Sailor Moon, blonde hair, blue eyes, but she's Japanese. Like,
This is true.
mm-hmm.
No, it's very true. I never thought of her as Japanese. You know what's
Yeah.
weird? When I was a kid, and this is again, just I was naive and I was a child, didn't know because I'm seeing it
Yeah,
dubbed
none of us
over
did.
Canadian, right? I
Yep,
didn't even know what anime was. I
none of us
vividly
did.
remember my older brother. This feels like when you're told Santa Claus isn't real and you're just like brokenhearted. For me, that moment was my brother told me that Sailor Moon wasn't even American. and that she wasn't like a girl from America, that she was
Mm-hmm.
that it was Japanese and that this was like a voice of
Mm-hmm.
a Canadian. He's like trying to explain it to me, but I was like, no, it's not true. There's,
Oh,
and obviously since then I've like learned and stuff, but that was yeah, thanks for pointing that out. And then as the older I got, I actually moved away from Sailor Moon because I felt like same reason I moved away from like my other childhood idols, like the Olsen twins and Lizzie
mm-hmm.
McGuire. Like, girl,
I love
I
them.
don't look like them. And it made me feel so
Fair.
shitty. Well, I mean, for myself, I'll speak for myself. I grew up
Mm-hmm.
always feeling like I was never gonna be as pretty as, or look like, or have hair like, or
Mm-hmm.
have a body type like these idols of mine. And the more I
Right.
started to like embrace my body, my hair, my identity as a biracial black woman, and just start to fall in love with myself and with us, I thought in the process, I got to push them away. Like, let me just forget about, like, they're not for us anyway. Um, and that's something that I think I've come around now. Like, I can embrace it was a time, honey. It still is a time and a
That's
way,
hot.
without thinking I need to look that way. I need to be this way to be
Mm-hmm.
considered pretty and to be powerful, that we do belong in,
Yeah.
in this space.
Yeah. I think that's a big thing in anime too, where because there's so few black people in anime, because Japan is a homogenous country, so they're just mainly making Japanese characters. That we try to find ourselves in other characters, where like a lot of people say like Piccolo from Dragon Ball Z is black. Sailor Pluto has a little bit of melanin, so they're like, oh, she might be black, and it's like,
Does she?
yeah, but no.
Is there
But
any black
yeah,
characters in Sailor Moon? I can't even think. I don't.
no, there's not any.
And then there's like the version that you see that's been like not just Americanized, but like you take away like some of the sexual identity, some of like
Yeah.
some of the political kind of stuff,
Mm-hmm.
that I did not even learn until again I was older and could get on Google
Yeah.
and get on fan fiction websites.
Mm-hmm.
And did I
Right.
write Sailor Moon fan fiction? Perhaps. Perhaps I
Did
did.
you?
Perhaps you'll never find it.
Wait, what was the fan fiction about?
Oh, I don't remember. Um,
Wait, okay. Wait, who's your favorite character actually? That's the real I really need to know. Like,
I've been yapping your ear off. You can ask me questions now. My favorite
mm-hmm.
Sailor Moon
I mean,
character changes. Obviously, Serena Usagi, which I learned her name when I got
mm-hmm.
into the fanfic world. I learned a lot of Japanese over
Love
through my
it, love it,
fanfic
love
life.
it.
Yeah, so my favorite obviously was Serena. And I would like go around I would ask my sister, and I want to say like one of my only best friend. I'd be like, "Please call me a ditz. Like call me." I wanted to be her, but I was never her. I was like so nerdy. I was an Amy. And so Amy
Mm-hmm.
became my favorite and probably still is. Although Ray has a very special place in my heart, as does Jupiter. It's hard. So I
It
would go in
is
that order. I would
hard.
say Amy, Ray, Jupiter. Especially Jupiter now, because she's got the very like, at least this is I'm basing this off of what I saw as a kid in America. I still have not watched
Mm-hmm.
like I haven't watched the official, maybe the more true to the original version stuff. But the
Mm-hmm.
character that she was portrayed as in the US was very like she liked to cook and she was like very nurturing and like I like Jupiter. What was her name? Makoto?
Well, in the Japanese, she's Makoto. In
Makoto.
English, she's Lita.
Lita. I forgot her name. But I remember the
Yeah.
Japanese. That's how you know I'm a real
Yeah, look
one.
at you.
Clock
Yes.
it.
It's funny. I was thinking Jupiter this whole time because you mentioned like cooking and plants, and I was like, oh, this is giving Jupiter energy because she also likes gardening. So,
That's
and I also
right.
feel like she's the unofficial black girl fave. Like every black girl I know is like a Jupiter fan for the most part.
She was like a
Well, not
baddie,
every,
she was
but like
tough, but also
she
soft and sweet.
is. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
interesting. I think the way that we love her, we love Sailor Moon in general. I think in anime or in storytelling in general, characters have to have very strong personalities, and part of that is so we can see a bit of ourselves, but or
Mm-hmm.
identify or say, I'm the Amy, I'm the Serena, whoever. But I really find pieces of them, and girl, I'm a Leo, so I got some Mina, some Sailor Venus in me. Yes.
Yes.
Um,
Tuxedo Mask is a Leo. which I was fine.
Why did I
Both
not
of
know that?
Sailor
Oh my
Moon's love
God.
interests are Leos, which I find so funny. Since my favorite is Sailor Moon also, so Serena, Usagi, whichever one. I use all three interchangeably. But as I've been doing the podcast and hearing people's reasonings for their favorites, I'm like, oh wait, that's a good point. Like, oh wait, that's a good point too. I'm like, maybe they're my favorite, or maybe I like them second. And now I'm just like, I can make a case for anybody because they're all, like you said, they're all so distinct and different. And you can really find people you identify with or characters you identify with, but also you can pull pieces from everyone. Because as much as I love Sailor Moon, like, I'm also very nerdy. So I'm like, I'm also Sailor Mercury a little bit too.
She was just so
Um,
helpless until she became Sailor Moon, you know, like that's the, but she's
hmm
also like a child. She was like
Yes,
14,
she's
right?
14. Hmm
And we went talk about the age gap, but the inappropriateness of that. But yeah,
Yeah,
loved.
it's,
Yeah, and
it's a
even
lot of
Ray.
problematic
Ray was
stuff in
so,
the show.
I loved Ray. She was fiery and sassy and like
Hmm
bossy and like, I
Yes.
definitely got, I have a piece of myself, like a piece of me in all of them, I feel like, or vice versa.
Yeah. No, I feel like that's how it goes. And then like typically on my podcast, like I talk about like I want you heard about me and like why I started my brand, but I want to know a little bit about you and why you started Brown Ambition.
Gosh, so it was a long,
Hmm
10 long years ago.
Yay.
It just seems like how have I been doing anything for 10 years? I'm only 24, right?
Of
What is
course.
time? I started Brown Ambition in 2015. At the time, I was a Yahoo Finance personal finance correspondent and writer. So every day I was writing articles very focused on millennial audience, how, how to get their finances in order, covering the news as related to personal finance. So if there was a new piece of legislation passed that could impact homeowners or, retirees or whatever, I would write a story about it. And when I was at Yahoo Finance, at the time, I was so grateful to have a job in general because I studied journalism in school, and I consider myself a writer first and foremost. But writing jobs full time are hard to come by. I grew up in Georgia, and I had managed to get my way to New York, but I had some like stops and starts with my career in New York. I got hired at a magazine, I got laid off, took a pay cut, and got a job somewhere I really did not enjoy myself. I wasn't getting to write at all. And then clawed my way back into a writer position. And the way that I did that is by finding personal finance and by really claiming it as my niche and embracing it. And as I was raised by a single mom, so financial independence was always important to me. And so I really looked at my job as having a cheat code for financial independence. Like my job is to talk to experts all the time who want to talk to me for free. I don't got to pay nobody, and I can then
That's a good
share that
point.
advice. Yeah, got free the top experts from like all these big investment banks and CEOs and their financial advisors and all that stuff. And I really enjoyed it. And as I was learning so much more, at that point, I was 3, 4 years into my career in personal finance. Serial had come out, the podcast, and a friend of mine was launching a personal finance podcast of her own. And at the time, I knew as a writer, I was only going to make it so far in my career. At least I felt that way. I felt like the industry was continuing to evolve. Print in general was still around, but a shadow of its former self. And my company, Yahoo, was investing a ton into video. And I already was pushing myself to do more videos. I pitched a 60-second, minute long video series that I did for them. And I was really pushing myself to get in front of a camera. It was so hard. It was very uncomfortable, deeply introverted, extremely shy, low self esteem. Like, no, that girl does not want to be on camera. But I made myself. And then, so for me, creating a podcast felt like a continuation of my career strategy, which was to try to come up with new reasons to be on the cutting edge or like be on the forefront of what storytelling methods were hot at the time. So I pitched my podcast the same way I pitched the Money Minute video series. And Yahoo's executive producer was like, no, 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 we're not doing that. I think because they could see a place, they already were doing videos, so they could easily see a way to fit in my video series. No one had done a podcast yet, and there
Hmm
was no infrastructure for it. They didn't understand how to monetize a podcast, so it was a business decision. Like, we don't know how to monetize this. You're not bringing us a monetization plan, so it's a no. And thank goodness
Right.
they did, because I did it
Look at you
anyway.
now.
Well, yeah, I did it anyway, and the great thing about that is I own it completely, so no one's ever been able to, no matter how many times I've switched jobs, it's been my IP, or my former co-host and I are IP together. And then when she left the show at the end of last year, I got full ownership, and so it's my baby.
That is the great thing where, because I also went to, started as a journalist and like
Okay.
ended up switching careers because of the same reasons. Like it just felt so uh, inconsistent, and like the industry was just like always laying people off, and it was just like I was this is and it's hard to
Mm.
get full time work or health insurance. So that's kind of why one of the reasons why I switched into comms and nonprofit work. But yeah, I think one thing about like having the podcast, it's like no matter where I go, like it's with me and I can take it with me, and I don't have to worry about anyone saying like we're shutting down your show, or we don't want to do this anymore, or you're leaving but we're keeping the name. So that is nice.
Have you worried or have you tried monetizing it yet, or do you see it as a way to feed your other businesses, which is driving the revenue that you want?
I definitely, with the podcast, I wanted to monetize it at first, but was struggling to. And then, even though this wasn't the sole reason I started doing events, it kind of helped fund the podcast. So now, like, the events cover all of my podcast bills, and then I can also reinvest that money into new events and ideas.
Love
And
that
so
circle
that's
of
been
it
working.
all.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then you're gonna add a book
And
to that
so,
circle, and it's like,
yes, it's all together.
same.
So it's really exciting. So I'm like, oh, this is actually kind of working out. So I'm like, maybe I couldn't monetize, but when I have like, I've had two ads in overall, but not like consistent monetization and nothing like super huge. But yeah, I love that the events now are like funding everything, and then it's like adding the books, and then, I'm sure I'll have other ideas in the future, and now I'm producing other things, and so it's
What
been
is the
fun.
book gonna
And
be?
then I have a comic book. It's a hip hop inspired magical girl series, and it's about a rapper and her entourage, so her DJ, her choreographer, her team, what is it called? Her tour manager, and her makeup artist. They're all magical girls. They're going on the rapper's first tour together, and they keep running across these monsters. They don't know why, and you have to fight them as they go through the store and figure out why these monsters keep popping up.
Oh, okay. I didn't even know the magical
Yeah,
girl thing was like a genre unto itself, but I love that.
yeah,
And
yeah,
as you were
yeah.
listing off the names of magical girl series, I'm like, we need a current one, right? Like, what's
We
the
do.
latest?
There
Especially one that
is like
features
there's
women of
some.
color.
Yes, that would be. I mean, there's been like independent ones, especially comic books, but nothing animated yet. There was one that went viral earlier this year. It's called "Please, Please, I Don't Want to Be a Magical Girl." It's super cute. It's about this girl who doesn't want to be a magical girl, so she like it's like her 9 to 5, and she's just like, "Fine, I'll transform. Let's do this." And then her friend is like, "Oh my God, this is so cool. I wish I was a magical girl." She's like, "Girl, this is just I just clock in and clock out. Like I'm just here so I don't get fired." And so it's really cute. The creator, I think her name is Kiana. She posted a short video clip of the first episode, and it went viral. Like it got like 1 million views on YouTube. I'm sure she is getting. I hope she's getting
Wow.
inundated with like a bunch of deals. But she's working on episode 2 now. She said on Twitter, and so that's really exciting. And so there's
Okay.
that with a brown girl. And then
We'll
there's
get
been a
there.
bunch of comics for sure, and like independent comics. It might as well be an independent comic, actually.
Oh, I'm so excited for you.
Yeah, so I have an artist, Asia Fulmore. We worked on the pitch package together, and so either planning to pitch it to a company or kickstart it, and that's where the process is right now. Trying to decide between the two. And actually, again on community, I have a meeting with one of my friends who's a comic book writer on Monday because I need her advice to see what should I do because I'm split between the two decisions.
Ooh, okay. Well, I mean, I'm just as a fan, I'm just like, ooh, I'm curious which way you're gonna go. Either way, I'm sure you'll make the right
Yeah,
choice. And it
thank
doesn't have to be
you.
like the final one. You can do it one way and the next time do it the other and,
Right.
see how it goes from there. Okay, now
Yeah.
you said you have some like rapid fire
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
moony
Fun
questions. Can we get
questions.
into it?
Yes,
Okay, fun stuff.
absolutely. Okay, so as a financial expert, which sailor century do you think would be the best financial planner or advisor.
So you may expect me to say Mercury because she's our girl with the visor and she's always doing her calculations. But I think the
Right.
person who's going to stop you from buying crypto and doing dumb shit with your money is Ray. So I think
That's a
Amy
good
works
point.
back of house, Ray is front of house. Like she is, calling the shots. So I go Ray.
I love that. Yeah, no, I think that makes so much sense because you need both. You definitely
Hmm.
need someone because Ray may not have the uh, temperament to like sit down with a computer to like crunch in the numbers, but she's gonna be like, "Don't fall
And
for that
and
cryptocurrency
Amy's going to be
scam."
talking too high level. You're going to tune out. Ray's going to tell you in a way
Hmm.
that you can understand. Girl, sit down. Put the
Yes,
crypto down. You know what I mean? You don't need Bitcoin. Have you seen your credit card statement? That's what you need from Ray.
yes,
Yes.
I like this a lot. I like this a lot. Another thing too is just in general. What else do you stand? So like, I'm sure a lot of people know you for finance.
Mm.
We're talking about Sailor Moon now, but like, what else? I always say like I'm a Beyonce fan, and I also love Boy Meets World. It's not behind me, but I just love Boy Meets World.
I've seen the I can't find that album. I don't know why. I didn't really know vinyls were having a thing again, but I can't find the Renaissance Silver Horse album. Where is it? What else? I'm a definitely Beyonce stan. I'm a real Doechii stan now. I
Yes.
love getting to watch. I mean, I know I'm not a day one Doechii stan. I don't know about her mixtapes or none of that stuff. I've only knew her from Alligator Bites Never Heal, and I mean, like, there's only a few concerts that or performances that I will rewatch, like it's like a tick or something. And her Grammys performance from earlier this year, oh my God, I just got to fast forward through Benz and Boone in that sequin jumpsuit doing backflips just to get to Doechii. I'm like, oh no, if I got to the dude with the bald head and the face tats, I went too far. And if I'm on Benson, I got to keep going. It's so
Yep.
good. And I just got a ticket to her Atlanta show for her tour. So I'll be in Atlanta in October for that because for some reason she's not in New York. Rude.
Yeah, I was surprised at that. I was gonna go to Boston, but I decided against it because I did see her for a tour last year, and so I was like, all right, I've seen her. I don't need to
You
see her
did?
again,
Okay.
but I really want to.
I just think it's going to be an epic show. I'm so excited. And other than that, I
Yes,
stand my
she's
children and I stand gardening. Gardening is my oasis, my meditation, my therapy. Yeah, I love it.
yes. I always like to ask that question on my show just because I feel like so many people know us for one thing, but we love a lot of things.
We contain
And then
multitudes.
we contain multitudes. And also, so typically, like, I don't know if you remember, but on the original English dub, at the end of every episode, there was like a PSA where Sailor Moon would go, Sailor Moon says, and it'd be like, do your homework or don't like be mean to people. So,
Yes, I
what
remember.
would your Sailor Moon says be? So, Sailor Mandy says,
Sailor Mandy says your net worth is your network and just negotiate. Just do it. You got to negotiate. Is that good? Did I do
I
it? Do I have to do
that's
like a little hand
perfect. And
movement?
you can do the if you want, but you don't have to.
Sailor Moon
No,
says, bitch, don't play, negotiate.
it's perfect. That's the Ray.
Mandy Moon. Mandy Moon. I'm very
Manny
basic. I love
Moon.
alliteration. Mandy Moon says,
Alliteration's amazing.
negotiate. And if you don't know how, listen to Brown Ambition.
Yes, 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 yes. Oh my God, that's so perfect. And I need that too because again, as an introverted person who also like has social anxiety and all these things, like doing a business and being like, "Oh, I need to negotiate." And I'm like, "Oh, I don't want to. Like I'm a people pleaser. This goes against this." But it's like, "No, I need to because I need to be a businesswoman. I need to put my businesswoman hat on." So, I needed
Truly.
to hear that.
Oh, anytime. Yeah, you teach me how to throw a party for myself. I can teach you how
Yes.
to negotiate with them vendors, them event spaces, whatever you need with your contractors. Yes.
Yes.
I'm so
Yes, we'll
proud of us.
exchange.
I'm so
Me
proud of us for being like
too.
introverted social, anxiety queens, but still pushing ourselves out of our comfort zone because we believe in what we have to say and we believe it's worth getting over that to do it. And I'm just proud of us. Oh,
Too.
yay for our inner child who would not believe,
Right.
would not believe.
Look at
She's like,
us.
my inner child's like, did we keep the lunchbox? No, boo. I'm sorry, we got rid of it, but it's right here.
in our hearts. The
It's in our
lunchbox is in
heart,
our
yeah.
hearts.
Well,
It
Victoria, thank
was.
you. I can't thank you enough for coming on the show. I'm so glad that you came up and said hello when you did. And if that's you and you see me out in the wild, please say hello. And I will do the same. And BA fam, I hope you go check out Sailor Moon Fan Club and even more. Like, where can people find out about your events? We need to get on that mailing list. How are we
Yes.
staying in the know?
So you can sign up for the mailing list on SailorMoonFanClub.com. That's the podcast site. You can also follow me or the Moonies Club at Moonies Club on Twitter and Moonies underscore club on Instagram.
We are going to put all of that information in the show notes. Y'all can go check out your
Yes.
work.
Where can my fans find you?
Brown Ambition, thank you. I forgot we're tag teaming. Brown Ambition
Yes.
podcast. Please listen. We come out 3 times a week. And if you enjoyed this conversation with me and Victoria, that's exactly how I do every show. It is not the Amy Sailor Mercury version of a career and finance show. It is giving Ray, it is giving Venus, it's giving Serena. We're having fun, okay?
Yes. Yes.
Amy's
Yes.
invited, but we sit her over there. We're like, Amy, the girls are not ready for calculus, okay? It's really meant to be a fun chat show. And so we do the main show on Wednesdays, the Brown Table, which is me with a couple of panelists. We're chatting about the week's news and headlines. If it applies to women of color and our wallets, our career, our lives in general, we're talking about it. And then we do question and answer on Friday. So you can actually submit a question, get it answered on the show. And then Sunday, like this episode, is Washday Woosah. So on Sunday, I usually pick a fabulous queen and we chit chat about their careers and how they made it to wherever they are and how they're getting to where they want to go. And it's a nice woosah moment. That's why I call it Washday Woosah. Like, we're doing our deep condition, we're cleaning the house, we're kind of getting set for the week ahead, and you want something to listen to, and it's kind of the perfect companion for that. So I hope you'll check me out there. You can also follow me personally at Mandy Money, MANDI Money on Instagram and everywhere else. But yeah, Brown Ambitions, where is that?
Yes. 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 Definitely check out Mandy, y'all. And it was so great recording with you as well.
We did it. We co-produced.
Yes.
All
We did.
right,
I'm so
BA
happy I came up
fam.
to you.
All right, Moonies and OK BA fam. We'll see y'all next time. Bye.